Hey everybody, welcome back live at Drew's House Joppa Afternoon Drive. Hope everybody is doing well out there. We have bursted into fall. Can you believe it? And it's felt like it too. The summer weather quickly went away. We had rain all summer, and then I don't know. Where'd my summer go? That's what I want to know. Next year they owe me one. Today we have a bunch of big shows. We have the beautiful Firehouse Performing Center for the Arts right down the street here. It is a beautiful spot to see all these shows, and of course we've had John Moynihan in here a million times. But I thought we would kind of dig into some of the stuff that's actually happening there. And there's a lot going on, especially in October, so that's where we start our show today. Let's meet our guests. First time for, I think, all three of you on the show here, so nice. Thank you all for doing this. Best If Used By is one of the shows. Kristina Grundmann here. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Fuente Grande is in the house of the Actors Studio. Hello.
Hello.
All right, and Deirdre, this was the tough name. Deirdre Budzyna of The Jungle Book. All right, Deirdre, we did okay. Thank you all for doing this. This is very sweet of you. Let's start with The Jungle Book. Let's do that. You're in, tell me all about The Jungle Book. When did we start all this stuff?
Great. So I own Acting Out Productions in Newburyport, and we are producing The Jungle Book. It features 32 young actors. The oldest is 13 and the youngest is 5.
Wow.
And they come from 7 different cities, towns in the area. So it's quite a varied group, and we are putting on The Jungle Book at the Firehouse October 5th through 7th.
I would imagine that's one of the more popular kind of pieces to take on. It's such an epic story.
You know, it's interesting. I mean, I think I grew up with The Jungle Book, but a lot of the students actually did not know it.
Is that true?
They said, I watched the movie before auditions, but they were not familiar with it.
Oh.
A few of them knew the song The Bare Necessities, but for the most part, they did a little bit of research before they auditioned.
Really? That's not, I thought that's the most timeless piece. I'm singing it in my head now.
No, but you know, I have to say it's fun actually to do a piece that children aren't that familiar with, because you know, it's so new to them and so exciting. Yeah.
Does it still pass the, it has that sticking, like, they must be able to relate to it still, right? I mean, that thing's never going away.
Oh, yeah. And I think, you know, it's also opened up, they've compared the live action versus the cartoon versus the play, and, you know, which pieces they like better and which one.
You have a 5-year-old actor?
I do.
That's what is that like, managing those kind of age groups? I'm sure maybe you all have experience with that in some way, but it's
you know, I mean, for me, I would always choose the 12 and under set over adults.
Would you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I love working with, my background is theater and education, and I love early childhood. So for me, it's actually really exciting to have 12 and 13-year-olds who are modeling what's appropriate for 5 and 6-year-olds. You know, that's how they learn. And I also think when you're 5, 6, 7, the energy and the excitement that you have for being in your first play carries you really far. And I think, you know, the 10, 11, 12, 13-year-olds are the ones who are on stage kind of leading the charge, which is great too.
So it's a little extra coffee for you to keep up with the adrenaline of the kids. Is that the...
I drink a lot of coffee.
I bet you do. I bet you do. Well, that is very cool. So you find the kids rewarding. I like that. We'll get back to the Jungle Book in a little bit. Fuente Grande, though, the Actors Studio. Tell me a little bit about the Actors Studio. I know it's so popular around here, but...
Well, yeah, the Actors Studio has existed for 32 years as a black box theater.
Yeah.
And I'm directing this production for the Actors Studio. And it's really fun because it's a new play by John Tavano, who is a part of a very familiar part of the artistic community. He's a wonderful musician and composer, and we've collaborated on shows before. He wrote this play that takes place in a neighborhood bar in Granada, Spain, on the night that Federico Garcia Lorca is assassinated. And it focuses on his friends and their anxiety and concern about their friend because of the rising fascism with Franco not quite fully in power yet, but the Civil War brewing.
Right.
So it features Rena Espaillat, also of Powwow River Poets fame and Poet Laureate fame, and Alfred Nicole, two great poets. They are the voices of Lorca reading some of his poetry, which is just magnificent, all of which is accompanied with John's Spanish guitar.
Wow.
So it's a really rich, unique little play. It's not structured like other plays. But it's rich, and the poetry, travels through time and is just as impactful, I think, today as it was in the 30s.
Needless to say, a different vibe than the Jungle Book, I think.
That's about as polar opposite as you can get.
Man.
Right.
What is so great, we were sharing before,
Right.
is that the Jungle Book closes at 2:00 on Saturday, and then his show opens
That night at
that
8.
night. So the firehouse will be transformed.
Yes.
Right. So, yeah, we just have two performances. Saturday night, the 8th at 8.
Okay.
Saturday night, the 7th at 8. And Sunday, the 8th at 3 in the afternoon.
Okay, so we're going to go a little darker in the evening session. I like that. Very good. And let's go to Kristina now. Kristina, Best If Used By is what you're bringing to the table here. Tell me all about that.
Best If Used By is a world premiere production, new script by Doug Brendel. And it concerns the other end of the age spectrum. This is about two actors aged 80 and up who are auditioning for a role. And as they come into the theater, they find that they know each other and they know the director and they have quite a past.
Oh.
The play was written because of the perennial problem of so many actors of a certain age for which there are no parts written.
It is a huge problem, isn't it? I've heard many people come in here and talk about that, and there's groups
many
designed,
highly talented people for which there are no roles that fit them. And so Doug's idea was to write a show for two women that he knew quite well, had worked with, and said these women need to be on stage. As he puts it, the theater world is diminished whenever Becky and Barbara are not on stage. So he wanted to make sure they were on stage and created this vehicle with them as inspiration.
Wow. All right. So there you go. That's a lot to go see. I know it's all coming. So this is a busy fall. How long do these plays for? And you can just jump in and take it if you want. Whoever wants it. How long do these things take to put together? I mean, have you been working on this? Is it years? Is it months? Did you throw it together last week? I don't know how these things go.
Well, with the world premiere, it's been in process now in writing. We did a stage reading last year with the same two actors, but we've been in rehearsal now since mid-August.
Wow. Okay.
So it's a long-term process.
Yeah.
A little different from what these guys are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, our play will have been in rehearsal about 5 weeks when we open.
Okay.
Yeah.
And our play as well. Usually our rehearsal period is 6 weeks.
Even with the kids?
Even with the kids. Kids learn things very quickly. People always say that, but honestly, children's brains are...
The little bit of experience I have with children, we do get them in our adult plays, is that they're the first ones off book. They know everybody's blocking. They know everybody's lines.
Yeah.
They're incredible. They're sponges.
Really? Okay.
And I think they also have this incredible ability, the week of tech, as soon as there's an audience, they are just on.
Yeah.
So 5 weeks, it is a little bit shorter. We normally have a 6-week rehearsal period, but
Gotcha.
with the start of school, it's a little bit shorter.
Well, good job, kids. I'm proud of you. Fuente, when you mentioned this, you have the Spanish guitar going. I'm curious, is that a track or is that a...
No, that's John playing live on stage.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and it's just magical.
That's a whole different kind of feel in the theater because it's almost, you get the...
It is.
Yeah.
And it's mesmerizing. Because he's a marvelous accompanist in that he can really work with the actors and in the rhythms they're speaking in, and of course he knows the poetry backwards and forwards, and his music really adds a dimension that's transporting. It really is. We all at the end of every run through we're like,
I imagine like if you're dealing with kids I bet part of the goal is, let's all stay on script and everything. Maybe that's a little bit of part of that. But I bet in that kind of show, is there a little bit of ad-libbing or maybe a different feel to each show? I mean, I know you're staying within the general framework, but
yeah, the way I work is that there's a lot of room for the actors to do their interpretation. They don't necessarily make up lines, although because this is a new play, John's been very open to suggestions, which we've gotten some great ones from the actors. So we have added in text as we've rehearsed, and John's had some ideas and added in text, which is part of the whole process of working a new play.
Yeah.
So it's a very collaborative environment, but in this one, not much improvising. Once it's set, it's set.
Okay.
Because the poetry is very specific, and the tone is very specific.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
Well answered. So when Best If Used By, I've had several people come in here with not just connections to the Firehouse, but connections to just acting in the acting world. And that is something that always stuck with me, because I definitely didn't realize how big of a problem the older actor work thing was. Like, it does make sense. I mean, it's a tough industry and there's just only certain jobs in certain age groups. But I remember one guy came in here, there was a play that was similar, designed for older actors, and he goes, "You wouldn't believe how many people came up to me and just said, thank you for going in this direction, because it just brings us back to life. Enthusiasm is put into us." And I don't know, for whatever reason, I forget what the play was. It was years ago, but I remember thinking, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That must be a really hard thing to grow older and not find that work,
Yeah, most plays center around youth and beauty. And especially for women. There are quite a few roles for older men, but very, very few for older women that are not comic relief or throwaway.
Yeah.
Just a bit part. So to find a meaty role for a mature woman is a tremendous find. And a tremendous opportunity. For the two actors that I have, these are probably the largest roles they've ever done.
Wow.
Both of them, no. One of them came into acting at the age of 40. And so she's always played the more mature roles, but of course then they've been drying up as she's gotten older.
That must resonate with audiences, right? I can't imagine it not. I mean, it does, just hearing the stories of the actors play without even seeing the plays, it does. But I would think that's a storyline that everybody can connect with. We've all had grandparents. We've all had people that grow older in our lives, It's like...
And looking around at the three of us, not so much in Deirdre, but there's some gray hair between us.
Oh, there is. You are very kind.
I got plenty myself coming in.
And our audiences are senior. They have their own desires for what they see, which I think gets left by the curbside often.
Yeah.
Every time we talk about this, I always think of the John Prine song "Hello" in there. 'Cause he talks, I mean, I think he wrote it at like 25, which is bizarre, I think. But he always talks about, he's like, I was always drawn because when I saw older people, I thought they must have great stories, which I thought it's such a simple concept, but like, yeah, it makes sense.
That's what makes him such a great songwriter.
Yeah,
right?
I know. But I don't know, that always his song always stuck with me, and how he talked about it, and it just, I don't know, I always like exploring that kind of, and I'm sure there's plenty of stories in the audience too, which, as you mentioned. What's the I mean, this is your line of work, but is there something post-COVID that is kind of special coming out of all this?
I mean, I
Special?
think
Being in a theater for one?
I wouldn't use the word special.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, I think any opportunity to perform live, we did several Zoom productions.
Oh, yeah.
And, Children on Zoom is its own special calling. My husband and I were just talking about this. He's a very patient person, but we were recording a Zoom play, and the last scene, 20 minutes in, the lead actor, who was probably 8 at the time, just disappeared from the screen. And I said, honey, where are you? And he said, I thought I'd be distracted by my toy, so I just moved it. And I was like, oh my God. So I feel like, while there's some risk, of course, in live theater, you never know exactly what's going to happen. I feel like it's so much easier than trying to help children focus on a screen.
Yeah, so a Zoom play, I haven't seen too many of these, so I'm imagining it's just legitimately a Zoom and a bunch of boxes, and when it's your time to speak, you step up and deliver your part.
Yeah.
That seems like something that's probably better live in a theater.
And I think, I also think for children, they're coming back and the younger children are just learning what does it mean to be in a cast? What does it mean to be with other children?
You
How
lose
do you
all that.
behave? I mean, some of them have not only never been in a play, they've never seen a play. If you think you're 5, you might not have never seen, so you have nothing to even compare it to for how actors behave. So to me, it's so exciting, because there are kids coming back who this is their first play ever.
Even just practicing, going through the dry runs with an empty theater. There's something different about that. Even just envisioning all the people sitting out there than there is talking to a computer screen.
Right.
It's like I remember hearing my voice for the first time in a theater, and I was like, wow, it's a bigger room. Do I have to be louder? And you're good. But it's like you learn those things, right?
Yeah.
And how your voice bounces off. And yeah, I'm good. We had to do this show through Zoom for a while, and I think I'm good if I never do another Zoom interview. Very good piece of technology, but
yeah, we learned a lot.
Yeah.
But it is joyous to be back working in 3 dimensions.
yes, it really is. And the audience, I think, has to feel that too. I know, I go out and just see friends play music or whatever, and it's like a whole. I don't think I ever really took it for granted, but I think in some way I did, because I appreciate it so much more now. Like every time I go to see somebody, I think back of how much I missed it. But
There is nothing like being in the same room.
it's crazy, right?
Breathing the same air.
Right.
Yeah.
And Zoom, of course, is live, but the essence of the immediacy of being in the same room is lost when you're passing through a piece of glass.
Yeah.
And it cannot be recreated.
The rooms give a different vibe. The audiences give a different vibe. The people you're with. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it seems.
I would say that our audiences, because everybody was dealing with the weirdness of COVID,
Right.
that people came on Zoom and were very supportive, whether they loved Zoom or not.
Yeah.
We got an awful lot of wonderful support from the audience, and everybody, I think I can say this safely, I think everybody was craving connection.
Yeah.
And even if the production lost value because it was Zoom, the fact that we were all together and had something in common to talk about was important to everybody.
Yeah. Do you think we actually learned that? There probably were big learning lessons through all that, right? I don't know if it's
huge.
Whether it be actual acting things you learn or what did you guys take from that?
Well, I learned that I could pivot, that I could go from being a stage director to figuring out how to direct on Zoom. And, first of all, learn the technology, figure out the best ways to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So there was a learning curve. Is it all applicable to coming back into the space? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But there was a steep learning curve.
Yeah.
Right. Which her husband, John, was key to getting me through.
John gets a lot of perks here.
Oh, he does.
Oh, yeah.
Props.
Right.
He definitely does.
Right.
I also think, that what children brought to it is they loved theater so much, they were willing to do it in any way they could.
Yeah.
If we offered, we have a younger daughter who lives in LA, she offered online Zoom improv classes.
Oh, wow.
And they were completely full. And part of it was kids were just so wanting any kind of connection.
Yeah.
But I think, it served its purpose, but I think the first day we came back into a room and I had 40 children in a room, I was like, finally, we're back. I just think it's you can never recreate that online.
And everybody always says too, or at least through COVID, everybody always said, kids will be fine, they're resilient, they'll get through it, and which to a large part I think is true. But I bet you do probably notice when you miss out on all those years of social interaction, like there does have to be some sort of, even if it's just for a time, trying to get back into the norm, get back into the flow, there must be some sort of oddness to that, just meeting, hanging out with people. How do you be a good friend again? How do you be a good,
Absolutely.
stage presence up there with somebody else? Like you must be seeing some of that.
Yeah, there are definitely social signaling that's different now.
Yeah.
As everybody's coming out of the cave,
Right, yeah.
And I can feel it in myself, and certainly discussed it with a lot of adult friends. And I know my grandchildren, they both, had to deal with it, and they had their stresses related to that.
Yeah.
You know what I've really seen coming out of COVID is the audiences. They forgot how to behave in a theater.
Yeah. Tell me it's not like an airplane.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea of you can't talk during the show, you can't pause it and rewind, and yes, we can hear what you're saying. Kind of went out the window. Everybody thinks they're behind a screen, and
That's interesting.
And I think it's taken a little while for audiences to get back into the we are in the same room.
Yeah. That is interesting. You're not in the comfort of your own home. Yeah.
Right.
Has that been, would you, on a scale of 1 to 10, would you call that a major issue right now, or audiences misbehaving? Or just kind of an odd thing that wasn't there before?
What I've seen is it's a minor increase.
Yeah.
I do see a lot of chatter about it online.
Really?
Other theater producers talking about how ill-behaved the audiences have been.
Interesting.
Since COVID is
it's funny you say, because I was at a fundraiser recently for a very good cause. I can just say the cause. I think it is the Pete Frady's Foundation, who, of course, we lost to ALS. And it was a great thing. They raised all sorts of money. But I was noticing the speakers, while they were doing the whole introduction, before, raffle and all that, the room was so loud. And I was like, this is kind of the moment, I think, where we all shut up, And, it never happened,
Right.
like, the whole time. And it was too big of a room to, not huge, but it was kind of too big of a room to stop the show. Kind of got to keep going. But I was a little bit taken aback at, again, people, shh,
But I think I would absolutely agree with you, and also say that's why I think theater is so important.
Yeah, true.
Because I think we are teaching people to come back and just be fully present.
Yeah.
And I think, when you're in your house watching TV, you're never fully present, right? You're
Yeah.
getting a snack, you're chatting, you're making comments.
You're on your phone.
If you're on your phone, I'm on my computer, right? Yeah. But I think when you're in a theater, you have to be fully present. And I think that is something that we lost. And I think that's true of, audience members from 5 up to 80,
Yeah.
that ability to just be and lose yourself and not check your phone and not talk to the person next to you. And, I think it's an important skill that theater does bring back to everybody.
I would imagine, from what I say, you're probably cringing as you hear Kristina say that, because there's probably moments of your particular program that really call for quiet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Please don't talk over the Spanish
Yeah.
guitar, please.
Yeah, I hope Lauren Boebert doesn't come.
Yeah, yes. Found herself in some recent theater trouble. Yeah, but you guys must have stories. Like, has there ever been a show that you have actually had to stop because of a poor
Talking?
audience, or anything? Is there any weird story?
Over time, there are stories that accumulate.
Yeah.
But it's a person misbehaving.
Yeah.
It's not a generalized attitude. Yeah.
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 Things happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Famously, Anna had to throw a carrot at a student in the firehouse who was making out during her scene.
That's great.
That's fantastic.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of story I was looking
her
for.
character happened to have a carrot in her hand,
Yeah.
and so she threw it at him.
There's room for ad-libbing, yeah.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
Just go in stride, continued the show, and...
Yeah, I mean, I've seen things on the news recently where even on Broadway and, in major theaters, major stars have had to stop and address someone who answered their phone or something.
Yeah.
But those are rare.
Yeah.
Those kinds of real rudenesses are rare.
Yeah. That's a particular kind of rudeness.
Yeah. Right.
I've seen that too. It always ends up going.
But we all are relearning, as Deirdre said. We're relearning how to come together as groups. you know.
Yeah.
And even a lot of my close friends who are in theater. Like, we were at the fundraiser for the firehouse a couple weeks ago, and one of my friends said, I think this is the biggest crowd I've ever been in since COVID.
Yeah.
And, you know, and people are still self-conscious about that.
Yeah, and the firehouse is such. I mean, I think it's 190, right? So it's a big room, but it feels small, and I mean that in like that good way. You know, like if there is a, you know.
And you're sitting shoulder to shoulder. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Kristina, you brought up the idea of the bad audiences. What's your worst story?
Somebody falling off a platform.
Ooh.
Yeah.
An actual performer?
No, actually, an audience member
Oh.
who managed to slide through off the side of a platform, and the actors not sure
What to do?
for the moment whether we had an emergency on our hands or not. Just a person who was moving their chair. Our chairs are freestanding. And
Oh.
managed to slide off the side.
Oh, boy.
And it was like, I'm okay. And it's like, okay, we're going on.
Yeah, not part of the program.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think the firehouse seats are.
Yeah, they're nailed down.
They're all
Not
nailed
gonna
down, so hopefully that won't be a problem.
Right.
Oh man.
Right.
Deirdre, any story you'd like to add to this?
I mean, we've never had to stop a show, thank God.
Yeah.
We do have, you know, now as part of my curtain speech, I do say to, you know, grandparents,
Yeah.
don't wave to your grandchildren.
Yeah,
they've been told not to wave back. And I had a little girl that was in Seussical, and she came out after the show and she said to her grandmother, "You were waving to me and I was directed not to respond to you," right?
Right.
But, you know, I mean, for the most part, I feel like our audiences are so excited to see the kids up there. They're really not distracted. I think for me, post-COVID, I've had to really reteach kids that they cannot be on their phones at rehearsal. Like, not so much never in performance, but, you know, we have a very strict no cell phone policy during rehearsal.
yeah.
And, you know, for 2 years they were on their phones. Not the young ones, but all the older ones.
It's
And-
tough to tell a teenager no phones anywhere, right?
and it is amazing. I mean, they
Yeah.
do it. They put their phones away, but it again was a reteaching of, you know, what's
Yeah.
it like to be in a room with people, actually, you know, learning from what they're doing and taking in their energy and,
Yeah.
you know, being fully present when you're at rehearsal.
There's an element of, I think, like those good nerves before any performance, which I'm sure you all still have. I think I heard Bono one day say, of U2 say, like, when you stop getting those, I think it's probably time you're done. Like, it's a good thing to have those, and I'm sure you all probably have that in some way, but especially with like the kids. Like, I introduced a band at the firehouse. First thing I did, like, out of COVID. Friends that have been on this show, and they asked me to go do it, so I went over to the firehouse, and again, 200 people. You know, I've spoken in front of many more than that, but for some reason, coming out of COVID, that light that I wasn't like hadn't seen in a while, just shining in your face, goes away for a second. Then you see the whole 200 people. I remember being like, "Oh my God, I haven't done this in a long time."
Right.
You know? Like,
Yeah.
I'm a professional. Be professional, Drew. But I was like, you know, I go, "Oh wow, okay, here we are," and I got that kind of that feeling, you know. Which I was like surprised by. I kind of liked feeling it in an odd way, but I imagine for like kids that you must see a lot of that. It's like first time. Is there like that first show kind of whatever that is?
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes some kids are just fearless and they
Yeah.
go right out there and they don't worry about it at all. I had a cute little boy who was in Aladdin, and before opening night, I said to the cast, you know, I'm just asking you to go out and do the best that you can do.
Yeah.
Just stay focused, support each other. And very seriously, he came up to me and he said, I'm going to try my best, but I want to be honest, it might not be enough.
Okay.
He was like 7. I said, if it's your best, it's enough, right?
Yeah.
But I think, you know, they
great.
feel a little bit of pressure, but we really try to keep it positive and, you know, I think...
I get that, but you can't recreate 200 people.
Yeah, I
Staring
mean,
back at
and
you.
sometimes it's, you know, the first time the lights are in their eyes.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a different light than practice.
Yeah.
It just is.
It is a different light than rehearsal, for sure.
Rehearsal.
for
Yeah. What do I
sure.
say? Practice.
Yeah.
Right.
You guys, you know what I mean then when I say that about that going into the first night and those different kind of
Oh,
jitters.
yeah.
And
Oh
it
my
doesn't
gosh.
matter. I mean, you talk about I've got 2 women, average age of 80,
Yeah.
who, you know, are just as nervous as the kids that you're probably working with. And we're, of course, rehearsing elsewhere, and we will go to the firehouse for 2 rehearsals before.
Yeah.
And we're bracing for, number one, going into the new
Space, right,
space,
right.
and then the audience, both of which will throw them.
Yeah. And they've earned the right not to care.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, they care
They care very much.
I know they do.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree with Bono. I think, that energy is normal. It's human, and it comes from a lot of places. It comes from being excited and wanting to do your work and having that chance. It also is some nerves just about being in front of other people, but it's, that's natural. And
Yeah.
I try and encourage my actors to breathe into it and just see it as energy
Yeah.
and, not resist it. Because if you push against that tension, then your hands start to shake. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
But if you just breathe into it and say, of course I'm nervous, why shouldn't I be nervous? There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. It's a level of caring too, right? If you,
it's a
that's what it.
total
If
level
you
of
didn't
care.
care, you wouldn't feel any
Right,
of that.
exactly.
So yeah, it's
Yeah.
the right feelings, I think.
Yeah.
Well, very interesting. Well, I think we just covered a lot of ground there in a short period of time. Kristina Grundmann, Fuente Grande, Deirdre, Budzyna joining us. All various shows here coming up at the Firehouse. What can we do for whether learning more or tickets? You guys sending people to social media or box office?
The Firehouse website handles all the ticket sales when they're doing a show there.
Yep.
Even if you're a visiting company. So you go to thefirehouse.org.
Okay.
If they want to know more about us, our website is newburyportacting.org, and Deirdre's is
actingoutproductions.com.
Okay.
And I also want to say we have a fun thing, the Saturday shows, which are Saturday the 7th at 10 and 1. We're also, as part of the Newburyport Halloween celebration,
Okay.
we are doing a costume contest. So we're asking kids to come dressed as their favorite jungle character.
Oh, cool.
And we're going to have
cool.
pictures with the cast and give prizes for the best costume. So
Very cool idea.
so we're hoping to look out and see a whole room full of jungle animals, which would be great.
That'll be fun. All right. Well, very good.
And if you're looking for more information on Best If Used By, you can go to bestifusedby.show. Or if you're looking on Facebook, just search up Best If Used By. We'll come up the top of the list, I think.
There you go. All right. Any open for questions or don't bother us? No, no, go check it out, though, everybody. That's a lot going on at the Firehouse. You guys all enjoy the Firehouse experience. It is a great place to do a show.
Yeah. I moved here the month that the Firehouse opened in 91. And so, it's been a part of life, a wonderful part of life forever for me.
There you go.
And I think, we perform in a lot of different spaces, but I think when we perform at the Firehouse for our students, it just seems very professional and, big. And, we've been so grateful. We've had support from City Hall and from local churches. And so we've performed in a lot of different venues, Triton High School. But I think when they perform at the Firehouse, it's really special to our students to have that experience.
Yeah.
I think for all of us it is.
I think
for the adults it's special too.
I think if you grow up around here, it's just one of those venues that, I know we have a lot of musicians come in here, and I know that they've played bigger rooms and bigger crowds.
Right.
But one of the guys just lived down the street. He's like, I booked a Firehouse gig coming up. I'm like, that's great. Like I grew up here. Like I've always wanted to play the Firehouse. You know, I feel like I made it now.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I played like to 3 times that crowd recently, and I know it's something about the place. So it's kind of
exactly.
get that hometown feel, I guess, and it's really rooted in here. Well, anyway, first time on the show for have you guys been on before?
No.
Nobody's ever been on before.
Nope.
Okay, very good.
I have been in this room before, but it wasn't your show.
It wasn't with me.
Right.
All right.
Right.
It's a whole different thing. We usually, for first time guests, we usually end with a little rapid fire where you all have to answer really quickly. Very general questions. So can we all be good on that?
Ready.
Let's go.
for
Keep
it.
the order. Let's just go 1, 2, 3. You have to go first. Sorry.
Okay.
We'll keep it simple to start.
That's right.
All right. Fuente gets going. Favorite food?
Paella.
Oh.
Pizza.
Lobster.
All right. Favorite TV show?
Only Murders in the Building.
Abbott Elementary.
You Stole Mine.
Oh, really? Duplicate.
Only murders.
All right. Favorite movie?
Oh gosh.
First is tougher. I told you.
Yes. Favorite movie out of Africa.
Okay, it's impossible to answer that question.
Okay.
Because I have so many different favorite movies.
Right.
I would say, I don't know, probably Schindler's List.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Good one.
I have a long list of things that aren't as deep as that I also enjoy.
Right.
And Casablanca.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. There you go. Favorite? It can't be Newburyport. We're gonna get out of the
Okay.
firehouse. What's the favorite venue in the world you've ever been in? It doesn't have to be worked in, but what's your favorite venue in the world to see a show?
Oh, the Laterna Magica in Prague.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to compare that to. Maybe Lincoln Center
Okay, I like that
in New
one.
York.
Yeah. Venue. I do like the Black Box down in Boston.
Yeah.
The Robert Center.
BCA.
Yeah, at the Calderwood.
Calderwood,
Yes.
yeah.
Favorite musician? What are we listening to these days?
Oh, favorite musician.
Or favorite concert? Well, you can answer that either way.
Favorite musician.
I love that he goes first.
Yeah.
Really,
You can see the strain. See?
Oh my!
Yeah.
I would say, Tiny Dancer. Why can't
Elton John.
Elton John.
There you go.
So my favorite all-time performer is Judy Collins,
Ah,
who just came to the
yeah.
firehouse, and my husband surprised my mom and I, and she was amazing.
I heard she was.
Still amazing. Like
Yeah.
just definitely.
I didn't even dare
incredible.
try to ask John Moynihan for a ticket for that one. I think sold out so quickly.
Right.
It did.
I know he's
It
still
did.
smiling about that show, I think.
Well, it was incredible.
Yeah.
My favorite all-time musician has got to be a singer-songwriter probably nobody's ever heard of named David Wilcox,
Oh, okay.
who is in any James Taylor vibe.
Yep.
So James is my second.
James, your second. I got to interview Livingston Taylor the other
Did
night.
you?
Actually, yeah.
Wow.
I was
Cool.
and I was actually what I had to do. I was trying to poking around because I didn't really know what their relationship was. It's you never know, right? But they're kind of quiet about it. But he said he really looks up to his brother, and he was not envious of the fame. He said he saw fame really do some bad things to his brother, and he said that's a hard thing to watch. But he likes his kind of. He's obviously a big name, Livingston
Right.
Taylor, but it's not James Taylor.
lower
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But all right, last one. We'll end with an upbeat one. What is
Okay.
the best career advice you've ever received? That's a good one for the kids out there.
Find something you love to do and do it.
Like it.
Yeah, so mine would be similar. That
Yeah.
I feel like every day I wake up, I'm happy to go to my job, and I think there's nothing that you could trade for really loving what you do.
Good one.
It's never too late.
Oh, nice.
Very true.
That nice synergy with the show there. Very good. Best of Fuse by Kristina Grundmann. Well played. Fuente Grande, the Actress Studio, Deirdre, Budzyna, Jungle Book. I wish you all the best with all the shows coming up. This was a pleasure. You're three great personalities here and great work here. Into the fall. I know you're excited about it. We're excited about it now, too. Have fun at the firehouse. Say hello to John Moynihan for me, will you?
Will do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks to our team, Maeve Power, Maya Gatzman, Sarah Hayden, our small but mighty team here in Newburyport, NCM Hub Studios. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you. We'll see you next time, everybody, live at True's house. Peace.